Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness. Business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramona, and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast. Steve, Ramona.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I am so thrilled to have you join us today. This podcast is dedicated to exploring the idea of doing your life and business with a purpose, and that purpose is a servant's heart. We could truly make a difference if we are servant's hearts every day, every hour, and every minute. Now, we created this show to educate you, inspire you, and motivate you so you can make an impact in your world. Now, today's guest is going to impact you. He's going to come from a different perspective that I love because you know what? This is what it is. And we're going to talk leadership and community because I think that goes together and it's a missing piece, that bridge. And while you're listening today, I want you to think of how you're going to serve yourself and serve others today and what impact you're going to create today. And what's that key word again? Is today. Again, I had somebody yesterday reach out and go, man, I heard your podcast and I waited and it's been a month. I said, do it today, which he did and followed through. So don't wait till tomorrow. Let's start that today because you can make a huge difference. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by an incredible partner, Pantheon Alliance. Imagine being part of a community of high-income, successful business owners and entrepreneurs from very diverse industries. Together, they're building a thought leader platform to impact and change the world. Well, my guest, as I said a little bit earlier, is changing the world in a very unique and very, I think, awesome and fun way. Because you know what? The world needs a change and needs impact so much right now. Today, I want to welcome Otis to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Steve. Great to see you today.
You too. And thank you for having me a guest. It was such a great time with your son. And how's that work with your son doing a podcast?
It's fun. We did it on a whim. Actually, it was very much a dad telling son, hey, we're going to do a podcast. I just bought a mic. It's coming your way. And here's when we're going to do it. And that was how it started. Not a whole lot of, well, we got to have this, that, and all this. And it was just, all right, what's not the cheapest mic, but the next not cheapest mic.
Great way of doing it. It's a great tip for everybody out there doing a podcast. And I don't have any kids, but that's one reason I have a kid. Tell them what to do. I'm kidding, audience. I'm half kidding. I want to jump into community because we'll talk, about tribe and purpose and all that. Why is community so important for leadership?
Well, you got to have somebody to lead. I mean, you lead yourself. But I think the other thing that really, when you talk about community, that comes to mind is that none of us are alone. And I don't care how great of a leader you may be. And by the way, if you think you're a great leader, you're not. Little side note there. But you always need people around you that to help you, to ask questions of, to support you, to bounce ideas off of, to take problems to and go, well, how do I handle this? That's what community is. I mean, there's so many different ways. On our show yesterday, we had our good friend Dr. Robin on, and we were talking about the veteran community, and she said it in such a great way. I hadn't heard it, and let's see if I can remember it. But it is a small community with a large camaraderie. We talk about the veteran tribe, and that was like, wow, that's so true. Because, the instant bona fides I have with other veterans is that community. No different than, when you talk to somebody and you say, hey man, where are you from? And they say, well, I'm from Fort Worth. Oh, wow. I grew up in Fort Worth. Instant connection with that person in that community. So I think you can't get anywhere without community. That's one of the reasons we call a business tribe and purpose, because a tribe is a community, and that's how you succeed.
Yeah. Shout out to Dr. Robin. Yeah, she's incredible. Look at my podcast, look at Otis' podcast. We'll get into the podcast in a minute here. But it's interesting talking about community, because sports fans, NFL just started. Well, there's a community right there, good or bad. That's what we're talking about. What a community. Hey, you're a 49er fan? So am I. I've had many conversations with people, same type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
What's the challenge? Somebody's listening going, Otis sounds great, but how do I become a leader? What's the challenge?
The biggest challenge is leading yourself. So doing what you say you're going to do, being that person that leads with authenticity. One of the things people talk about confidence. I did a keynote the other day about command presence, and what command presence is. The translation of command presence to actionable items is having self-awareness, knowing who you are, having the authenticity, being yourself, being so confident in yourself that you are authentic in what you do and how you show up, and then owning the moment, because you know those two things. Self-awareness in that, well, this is how I feel, this is how I react, now I'm going to change my mind. I want to be this way. I want to have this. I want to show up this way. And when I do that, then I can be authentic. I can be my authentic self, and not try to be Steve or Jason or Bill or whomever, because I can't be them. I can't do it their way, even though I may really think they're great in how they do it, but I have to do it my way, and my way of getting ahead. And that's what you have to do. And that's how you start to lead. You do that, start with yourself. You'd be amazed if you do those things. If you understand yourself, you have that self-awareness, and you show up authentically all the time, guess what? People migrate to you. They're drawn to people who do that, because, well, what is authenticity but being straightforward and telling the truth and acting the truth, being your true self all the time? People want that. They see confidence in that. They see security in that. It's a natural survival thing. You see that guy or gal walk in the room, and it's like, wow, there's something about it. You don't think about it, but your tribal caveman instincts draw you to that person. I wonder who that is. I want to go talk to that person, as opposed to, you flip the switch and the person who's all slumped down, and, you can just feel that person sucking the oxygen out of the room and stealing it from everybody else, because they're just draining, the woe is me. Let me tell you about how bad the traffic was getting here. Let me tell you about my coffee getting cold. Let me tell you about my dog being sick. I mean, it's like, come on, man. How do I get out of this conversation? Because it's draining. I mean, just shoot. Here's a funny thing about how our bodies react. Just talking like that. I felt the drain of my energy, just talking like that. And we have to switch that and show up positive with authenticity and being self-aware of ourselves.
I love it. I think dictator in my head, they're not a leader. They're a leader in a certain way, but not the positive way. And that's why I think you made a great point. If you're negative, you're not a really good leader. If you're positive, it makes it be a better leader. And that's yourself first. I love tribe and purpose. We've talked about when I first met you, I told you, let's talk about that. What's, the purpose of it and the mission?
Yeah. So tribe and purpose is about helping people get clarity and resolve in their purpose, and then building a tribe around their purpose so that everyone can have more success. Our mission is to create a legacy of leaders, because we believe that great leaders create great organizations, When we have great organizations in our communities, we have better communities. When we have better communities around the world, we're going to have a better world. There's my fuel. That's my get up out of bed. Even though I smoked a couple of cigars last night and drank a couple of whiskeys, it's still that right there got me up out of bed and got me moving.
Yeah. And it's interesting because purpose is so important, and you focus on that. No business that's successful did not have a purpose. I think you agree with that too. It's 100%. Yeah. In your army and then Green Beret. Thank you for your service, by the way. I know you learned a lot, but what's 1 or 2 or 3 lessons you learned that people listening to go, oh, that'll make me a better leader and a better business owner or better founder?
Number one, I'd say trust your people. Trust your people to do their job. That's so important, because the micromanager forgets. He may not trust his team to do his job. That's why he's micromanaging. But then he should be asking himself, well, who's doing his job when he's doing somebody else on his team's job, and over supervising? So trusting your team to do their job. I'll tell you another one that I use all the time, and I teach it. I teach the trust part too, but I teach the military decision-making process. And it sounds like this big beast, but it's really super simple. That, I taught a graduate level course for a university years ago, based just on that. I structured the whole class around the military decision-making process, translated it from military speak to civilian and business speak. But what it is it teaches you a process of identifying a problem, defining that problem. What are the parts and pieces? What's important? What's maybe important? What's something that is in between this important thing and that important thing that nobody's telling me to do, but I still got to do, implied? What are the things that I have to do? What are the things that I can't do? What's true? And what's the gap? What are the gaps? What kind of assumptions do I have to make? That right there, we call that mission analysis. Taking that picture of a problem and putting it into 5 buckets so that I can analyze it, so I can understand it, so me and my team can fully understand it. And then we develop from there, and we get to the end, and we use what I call, or not what I call, no, what is called a 5-paragraph field order. And all a 5-paragraph field order, I'll give you the 5 paragraphs right now: situation, mission, execution, administration and logistics, and communication. So if you take this and you translate that to business, what's situation? That's background, right? That's pretty simple. What's the background? What are the parts and pieces? Who do we have? What do we have? We talk about the facts and assumptions. Number 2, mission. What are we trying to accomplish? What's the problem we're trying to solve? That's the mission statement. And then execution is the how. How are we going to do this? Who's going to do what, when? And we're going to do all these sort of things. And a very important piece that I rarely see in a business plan, whether it's a 5-year or a overarching kick my business off, is this little paragraph that I learned about many years ago, getting ready for Ranger School, called Commander's Intent. And Commander's Intent in the 5-paragraph field order alignment is the very first thing in the execution paragraph. And what it is, it's the commander's narrative, briefly stated, of the importance and the how for accomplishing the mission. And then if we think admin and logistics, that next paragraph, well, that's pretty self-explanatory, right? We know what tools and parts and supplies we may have. And then communications. What is communication in business? Marketing. So you've just taken your 5-paragraph field order that I learned to go to Ranger School, and I used in Ranger School, and the military still uses it today, that process, and relabeled things that mean the same thing because we just translated it to business. I had a guy that I was a client years ago, who, military guy, was starting a business, and he was racking his head against the wall because he was going online and finding these business plans, and he was trying to put his thoughts into these business plans. And he's like, God, Otis, I just can't do this. And I was like, dude, how have you solved problems for the last 8 years? Because that's about where he was. He said, well, I use the MDMP, duh, right? I said, hello, use the MDMP. And then you do just what I just did. And if some banker or a VC wants things labeled a little bit different, then take your paragraphs. But if your mind is set that way to think that way, why change it? Goodness gracious. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a fan of it. You can tell.
Well, because it works. You just change the verbiage. That's it. But here's the crazy thing, and audience, you need to hear this. This is so important. This business plan, from our perspective, is life or death. Some of these could be, we're going out to Afghan, or we're going to fight Taliban. It better be rock solid, or we're going to be losing guys, right? So why can't we use it in business where we're just losing money? Death, money, yeah. I think that's an easy solve there.
The process has been proven many times, and yeah. I've written many a plan using that process, and been very successful in implementing those plans. So,
what a lesson from the government, from military and government too, that they gave you. Well, here's the question that comes to my head that I deal with mentor entrepreneurs and business owners is indecision. Please talk about that, because I know what you're going to say, but audience needs to hear this.
Yeah. Well, the thing you have to do is you have to make a decision. Now, indecision is not making a decision. However, not making a decision, deciding not to decide, is a decision. And that's important to understand also, because I learned this lesson years ago. I won't drag out the story, but let's just say I was giving a presentation to a 4-star general one-on-one, and I thought I had nailed this thing, and I'm going to get the general's initials and all this sort of stuff, and we're going to execute this really cool plan I put together, and we're going to save the world with this plan and all that. You got to the end of the presentation, last page, had a box, yes, or I think it actually said approved, disapproved, 2 boxes, right? Because the SOP was you got the general to put an X and then initial it, right? And then I could walk around with it. He got to the end of the notebook, closed it, handed it to his aide, turned to me and said, "Great job, Otis. Thank you very much." But he had decided not to decide because he had more information than I did. He knew that the president was going to do this, or the secretary of defense, all these sort of things. He knew that, he had that insight, and he knew that he had another week before he had to make a decision to do it or not do it. That was decided. At first I was like, man, this wishy-washy, how did he get the 4-star general, stomping out of there, in my most respectful, frustrated face. But in the end, he knew what he was doing. He decided not to decide. It wasn't indecision. Indecision kills the groundhog, the prairie dog. I don't remember. Did Camden tell you that story? I don't think he did.
No, he didn't. No.
All right. I'll tell you here's the life lesson on indecision. I was a rugby coach. I was the Colorado State All-Star head coach. And we were going to the tournament one morning. We'd all in a hotel, and I've got 2 boys in the back seat of my truck and my son Camden in the front seat. And it's early Sunday morning. There's nobody on the road, and this prairie dog runs out in front of us. And I said, "Boys, watch this. He's not going to make a decision, and it's going to kill him." And I just held the truck on path, and guess what that prairie dog did? He did this. Bounce back and forth. And it wasn't like I was trying to do it, believe me, because for listeners out there, I'm driving my truck around running over critters. Yeah. I don't do that. But the point is, because, I don't know if you've ever tried to swerve when you got a rabbit, a coon, or prairie dog, whatever, out in the road, what do? They go, oh, wait, I'm going to run this way. No, I'm going to run this way. And next thing you know, you're rolling your truck down the hill.
Yeah.
So I just said, I'm going to hold on path. He's got plenty of time and plenty of space to get off the road. But he turned and just did that. Indecision killed that prairie dog.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You made a decision too, not to swerve because you didn't want to roll with the kids in there because you're thinking about that. So your decision killed his indecision. Very interesting. I like that. And thank you for sharing, because I learned, because I used to say, you don't, sleep on is not a decision, but you're right. Indecision can be a decision to make a decision a little bit later.
Yeah.
It's the indecision of, you share something with somebody, you tell them, hey, go do this. And then a week later, you go, so how'd it go? Well, I haven't done it yet. And I want to make that point for people to understand that, because to me, I think indecision is the killer of a lot of businesses and hurt a lot of businesses in COVID. Do we pivot? Yeah. Do we not? Do we, we'll wait and see type of thing?
Oh, I'm a firm believer, and we'll say to a fault, I'm an action taker. I see something and I take action. But what that does, when I take that action, I'm moving forward. And if I'm wrong, then I'm quickly admitting that was the wrong decision to do that. And I'm shifting left or right. I'm pivoting, I'm micro pivoting, and heck, I'm turning around and going back the other direction, because I just stepped into the bear's den or whatever. That's what you have to do with life. That's what you have to do with business. When you make a decision, you have to step into it with authority and confidence that this is right. When you take that, as soon as you take that step, you pick that foot up and start moving forward, you are doing that because you know that is right. You believe that is right. And then you put that foot down and you find out it's a fire ant nest. Okay, well, let's back up, right? I made that wrong. That was wrong. So you have to do that. I'm a firm believer in that. It's mistakes happen and I learn from them. And when I take, sometimes I can look at it and say, all right, I've got a day. I don't need to make that decision now. Other times it's like, nope, let's go right now. Do it.
Yep. That's like when you're driving your truck. You had a 30-second, whatever, short-term decision. And thank you for that, because, and you're doing well, you're successful. And people laugh when I say this, you got things, you're successful making wrong decisions. Make the wrong decision, pivot if you have to, and go another way. Unless it's a do or die situation, and military has a lot of that. That's not what we're saying here. It's that, do I go this way for the marketing? I'll hire this marketing company. It doesn't work in 6 months. Just find another money. Yeah, you spend a lot of money, but you can't look back. Got to keep looking forward. Like you step in the fire ant hole and step back out if you have to. We're coming to the end, but I've got one question I think is, to me, it's very important. If I'm a leader and I make a mistake, how do I handle that?
Own up to it. Admit it. I screwed up. You don't have to be all, woe is me, I screwed up. Look how stupid I am. I screwed up. Nope. Hey, fellas, that was wrong. Let's not do that again. Joe, don't let me make that decision again and go that way. It's that sort of thing. And one of the great things, sorry, you reminded me of this. One of the great things about the special ops world, being around a bunch of alphas, the top of the top of the top, was that's how he would handle things, in a cynical, humorous way of, oops, that wasn't the right button to push, sort of thing, and that's how you do it. And you have to be in that point and be willing and confident, back to the confidence thing as a leader, confident in yourself and that decision. I've seen so many people over the years who aren't confident in themselves, and because they're not confident in themselves, they're unwilling to admit their faults. And when we cannot admit our faults, we cannot correct our faults. When it's always somebody else's fault that you're getting held back, screwed over, business isn't going, whatever, you name it. When you push the blame onto somebody else and you take no responsibility yourself, you cannot fix it, because you're pushing it onto somebody else. And I can't fix you, Steve. I can't change you. Steve's screwing me over. Dadgummit. he kept me from doing this and kept me from doing that. Really? Well, maybe what's your interaction with Steve and that? How does that work? How did you show up? What are you doing in that relationship? So
I'm blown away that you told that story about special ops and they own to their mistakes. Because talk about hyper alpha, you said earlier, hyper alpha, hyper masculine, hyper ego, not ego in a bad way, but ego like, hey, we got to be BA guys, because we're walking into war. So you're telling me it even happens in the military, even the top levels.
Oh yeah. Any person that is in a leadership role that is worth his salt that men want to follow, yeah, he'll raise his hands and screwed that one up, fellas. So I've probably said that a lot of times.
Oh my God. And honest, here's why what I'm thinking is I own a plumbing company. I make a mistake compared to that. I make a mistake in special ops. It could be, again, life or death or very serious. Then go to my plumbers. Hey, plumbers, I made a mistake. I gave you the wrong payroll. Let's fix it. Yeah. So being humble and being authentic and announcing your mistake and letting people know, it's what a way to end the show. My God, Otis, I'm going to bring you back because we've learned so much and you're just so humble in what you do. And I love that. But let's end with a fun note or a fun question, excuse me.
All right.
So you have a reservation at a restaurant, table of 4. You're of course in one of the chairs. In the other 3 chairs, who would be sitting there, dead or alive? Why are they sitting there? And what food would you order?
First person that comes to mind, Marcus Aurelius, because I'm fascinated that his book, Meditations, written 2,500 years ago, you read it and it's like, did he just write that for me? You feel like that. Next one would probably be my old boss, Bill McRaven, because I always loved our talks, plane rides in various places. And we don't get to talk like that often anymore. Short phone calls because he's a busy man. Let's see, one more. As somebody who's in the news a lot right now, Elon Musk is an interesting character in a number of ways. His demeanor, his thoughts. I'd love to pick the brain of how you got this. What were the decisions? Very similar to what I do on the podcast, what Camden and I both do. What the hell were you thinking when you did that sort of questions, right? Because I just find that so fascinating to understand. So that's my 3, right? Yep, 3.
Yep.
Now, am I ordering for everybody or just me?
It's your food. They got to eat it.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's ribeyes, medium rare, and a baked sweet potato because I'm going to go all out. Maybe some green beans. I don't know. Maybe. And that some grilled onions and mushrooms to kind of put on my steak a little bit, right? So, yeah.
It's 11:30 here in California. I'm getting hungry. That is so good. And probably a little whiskey too, if you're.
Oh yeah. A little shot of whiskey, or an old fashioned before dinner, and a little shot of whiskey to help my palate and my digestive system handle that. Wonderful.
Oh, you made my wife very happy. She's not here now, but she loves old fashions. So I'll tell her that she's just a big fan. Well, I want to thank you, Otis. This has been great. Bringing the military into business is so important. And I say all the time, if I started a business, half my employees or directors would be military veterans because of all what you just said. Not saying that, but it just, I trust them. I could trust them, discipline and growth would be there. How can people support you, reach out to you and find you?
Best place is I'm on LinkedIn. So just Otis McGregor on LinkedIn. That's the best way to find me and get in touch with me. our website is tribe-purpose.com. And then our programs, we list those out on a different site called 10X Your Team, which coincides with our podcast. And that's our podcast. We call that the do-it-yourself portion of our services. So you can listen to the podcast. Great guests like Steve, Dr. Robin yesterday, and so on. And then our Done With You is our leadership development system, which I love creating leaders and helping people become better leaders. And then finally, our Done For You is our fractional COOs. So we provide fractional COOs for small business founders so that they can get their head out of the day-to-day ops and look up and out and grow their business.
Yeah, that's powerful. Well, I want to thank you again. I knew it'd be great. We connected the first time we met, and this show's been fantastic. And we'll definitely bring you back for part 2 because a lot more we could do. I know you have a ton of stories, so that's just that part of it. It's going to be great. And audience, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm asking because I want you to listen to Otis's show. If you want to be a leader, it's not for everybody, but if you're looking to be a leader, become a better leader, or just tell your leader how to be a leader, because that's what he talked about too. If you're in a business and your boss is not a good leader, maybe you sit down with them and help them. That's a leader too. Mm-hmm. And Otis, he's taught me this. That's why I know this stuff. So do that, because you can listen to this over and over again, and you can hear some of these incredible stories of other guests. And then, of course, family and friends. You have a family and friend that wants to know about leadership and how the military can help you. I mean, the 5 steps he gave you to our business plan, $1 million idea right there. If you do it right, it could be crazy how much money you can make. And I call that abundance, which means you can help others. Also, to comment on the YouTube channel. If it's a comment for Otis, I'll definitely give him the comment. Critique the podcast, because again, me and Otis say this podcast is for you, the audience, not for me, not for Otis. We're here to support you and serve you. So let us know that. As always, me and Otis, thank you for watching or listening to this podcast. We'll see you in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, Steve.